the heart of the jungle, where the canopy swallows sunlight and the ground never truly dries, something ancient stirs. On a night when the moon burned red, a tigress labored in silence, hidden from eyes that hunt even her kind. The forest was still, too still, as if every creature held its breath, sensing that something sacred was about to begin. Owls froze on their branches. Jackals crept no closer. Even the river seemed to hush. He was not the strongest, not the largest, not the loudest, but the forest listened. Predators watched with eyes glowing in the dark, knowing this birth would change the balance of power. But destiny is rarely born in strength. It begins in struggle, in silence, in survival. Hunger was his first true enemy. Long before he understood fear, he learned the ache of emptiness. In that silent art of war, the cub learned the taste of emptiness that gnawed louder than thunder. His mother vanished into the jungle's dark one night, leaving only scent and silence behind. Alone, ribs showing through his skin, the cub moved through mist in search of life itself. He hunted in silence. Every rustle of leaves was a lesson in failure and patience. Each stumble left a scar no eye could see. He chased birds that laughed in the wind. Monkeys jeered at his clumsy leaps. Lizards slipped through his claws, mocking his hunger. He lunged again and again, but the jungle gave him nothing but exhaustion. Still, his instincts sharpened. The jungle was a merciless teacher with no pity to offer. Vines tripped him, branches bruised him. Yet through the suffering, he grew aware of rhythm. He learned the rhythm of silence, the way grass moves before prey listens. He felt the exact pause before a bird takes flight, the stillness before death. Hunger carved him not into a victim, but into a hunter. Though his belly still ached, his eyes now held something the jungle recognized, a fire that would not die. The night of his first victory came with danger in the air and the scent of blood on the wind. Along the riverbank, a wild boar rooted in the mud, massive and armored by rage. But the cub, lean and desperate, crouched in the undergrowth, heart pounding in rhythm with the earth. He measured every sound, the splash of water, the scrape of tusk against stone. His body shook with hunger, but his eyes burned with something fiercer than fear. Tonight, hunger would meet courage. He leapt. Claws slashed, teeth snapped, the world erupted in noise and movement. But the cub rose, relentless, each scar a lesson carved in flesh. He circled, learned, adjusted. For every stumble, he returned with more fire, more precision, more will to survive. The cub lunged, jaws closing, holding on with every shred of strength he had. Silence followed, broken only by the river's slow applause. When he raised his head, muzzle stained red, his reflection stared back, no longer a cub. A king had taken his first step toward legend. The jungle always tests its chosen with fire, and tonight it sent a mountain of fur and muscle to do the testing. Towering, snarling, its paws heavy as hammers, the bear ruled this territory with brute certainty. Even the trees seemed to lean away when it came, their roots trembling beneath its steps. He had bled against tusks, but never had he stood before something so vast, so unstoppable. This was no hunt. This was survival. This was a trial written by the jungle itself. The clash came sudden. The bear swung with fury, claws ripping bark from trees and thunder from the earth. Dust and blood clouded the air as predator and titan collided again and again. Again and again the bear lunged, each strike echoing through the forest like falling trees. His body screamed with pain, but his spirit only burned brighter. And then an opening, a stumble, a hesitation. The tiger lunged, seizing the throat, holding on until the world fell still. The forest fell into silence. The bear staggered once, and then was no more. The jungle had found its true king. No jungle allows two kings. By now, his roar carried weight. His presence carved paths through silence. Older, larger, his stripes carved into the soil by years of conquest. Their meeting was inevitable. A clearing, silent as a held breath. Birds fled, deer froze, even the wind held its tongue. Eyes locked, amber against gold. Neither blinking, neither yielding. The rivals struck first, a wall of muscle and rage. Claws tore the ground, his roar shattered branches. Their bodies collided, rolling in dust, the forest watching like a jury. Every strike was not just battle, it was destiny being decided. The rival was strength, raw and crushing. The younger was resilience, born of hunger, forged in failure. And when the dust finally cleared, only one stood tall. His chest heaved, his stripes streaked with blood and rain. In that echo, the jungle crowned its king. Morning rose upon a kingdom reborn. The air was thick with calm, the calm only a king could command. The jungle stretched wide and endless, its veins of water glinting like lifeblood beneath the sun. He no longer fought for survival, he moved as one who owned the very ground he walked upon. Each scar was a crown, each wound a story of conquest and endurance. He looked upon his realm where every sound, every shadow, obeyed his silent rule. Even in rest, his presence filled the forest. The air seemed to move in rhythm with his breath. The jungle did not fear him anymore, it respected him. He was its balance, its keeper. He needed no roar, no challenge. Only the quiet weight of his being kept order alive. Peace had never been a gift to him. It was a prize wrestled from chaos, earned in blood. From above, he seemed eternal, carved into the very rhythm of the earth. Day faded into gold, and gold into shadow, but his throne did not fade. In every gust, in every heartbeat of the forest, his name lived, unspoken but undeniable. He moved without hurry, a monarch unchallenged, carrying history in each step. The forest breathed with him, predator and protector, destruction and creation in one. And so the legend of the throne endured, not of dominance, but of harmony, carved in stripes and silence. For ages, the jungle belonged only to silence, to hunger, and to instinct. But one day, new sounds broke through the canopy, the hum of engines, the echo of metal against earth. The wind carried a strange scent, smoke, oil, and something colder than fear. The tiger watched from the shadows as men entered his realm for the first time. They walked upright, loud, unafraid, as though the forest itself were theirs to claim. Birds scattered at their noise, even the river changed its song. Where once there were paths of paw and claw, there came footprints, narrow, sharp, alien. They cut through vines and roots with blades that never dulled. The trees that had stood for centuries fell with a single roar of steel. He followed them silently, golden eyes tracking their every careless move. He did not understand what they sought, only that with each step, the jungle grew smaller. The ground trembled not with thunder now, but with the weight of machines. The animals fled deeper, their calls turning to whispers. Even the wind seemed to hesitate, carrying the scent of endings. The tiger crouched low, his breath slow, his heart unsure if this was prey or prophecy. One of the men looked up, their eyes met. For a moment, two worlds collided, instinct and invention, power and arrogance. Neither moved, and yet everything changed. He did not attack, he did not roar. He simply turned and vanished into the shadows, leaving silence in his wake. But in that silence, the jungle felt something it had never known. The beginning of fear. That night, the stars shone dimmer through the smoke. The king had not fallen, but his kingdom had begun to burn. And as men built their fires beneath the trees, the jungle whispered a warning. The age of beasts was ending, and the age of man had begun. The jungle burned, not with the fire of storms or summer heat, but with the fire of man. Flames devoured the roots where rivers once ran, and smoke swallowed the sky that had watched over kings. The tiger ran, not from fear, but from the sound of an ending. Every step crushed ash where once his ancestors walked. The roars of beasts had fallen silent. Only the crackle of fire spoke now. He stopped at the edge of a clearing, his throne, his world, dying around him. The air shimmered with heat, trees falling like memories into the flame. And there, beyond the smoke, stood men again, smaller than he had imagined, yet bearing weapons that reached farther than claws ever could. He could have fled into the shadows, but he did not, for a king cannot run from his own kingdom's death. He faced them, his eyes blazing brighter than the fire itself. Bullets tore through the smoke, thunder made by hands. He moved through it like lightning given shape, one last storm of muscle and fury. Pain came, but he did not fall. Not yet. Not until the jungle itself went silent. The final shot echoed. He staggered, the earth trembling beneath his weight. The forest watched in stillness as he sank to his knees. The last echo of an age fading into dust. When dawn broke, the fire was gone, and with it, the sound of life. But where he had fallen, the ground refused to take him. Vines grew around his form, leaves sheltering his body as though the jungle itself mourned. Seasons passed, the men left, the forest healed, slowly, quietly, forgiving but never forgetting. And when the wind moved through the trees, it carried his roar, faint, eternal. Now, in the heart of the jungle, when the moon burns red, the beasts still pause and listen. For somewhere in the dark, the spirit of the tiger still walks, unseen, undefeated, the legend of a king who stood when the world fell. His reign ended in silence, but his legend began in eternity.